Hello, everyone. Welcome to Alien's Joy today. I'm very happy to be here with you. And thanks for watching if you are watching on winwinwomen.tv or if you're watching on Roku, Amazon, or Apple TV. I'm glad you're here today. This is Alien's Joy. I hope to bring you some joy. I hope to bring you some work today. I'm going to go over something that I did the last couple of weeks. I did a planning workshop, a planning for 2024. And that workshop was called Superstart Your Health in 24. And it's all about kind of thinking and planning and then writing down the things that you would like to do for yourself in the new year and kind of making that a smart plan, right? In the sense of the fact that it is specific, it's measurable, it's attainable, it's relevant, and it's time bound. So let's say that you are with me and you want to plan the first quarter of your health in 2024. It's a very good idea to go by a quarter, right? Because that is a good time measurement. Let's say you want to eat better, you want to eat healthy, you want to start an exercise routine, you want to lose weight, right? Always a big one after the holidays. So if we write it down and we make it small little steps, we kind of break it down in goals, right? We have that dream for the end of 3 months or 6 months or sometimes a year. And then we break it down in some smaller goals and then we write it down. It becomes really, really a step and a form of action. And if you write it down, then you can hold yourself accountable. And how many times do I talk about you are your own boss? So welcome to Alien's Joy. I'm glad we're going to do that today. I'm going to give you the short version of what I went over for a couple of weeks in my workshop, the things I offered. Oh, excuse me. Today is kind of a shorter version, but what I want to do with you, of course, open it up to say, if you have any questions or if you need me to do this with you, and just reach out and we can do this together. So I can, as a life coach, I am a life coach, a midlife and transformation coach, and I'm also a fitness coach. And I've worked in the fitness industry all my life for exercise, health, and wellness. So if you're trying to find me, alienhaan.com, and if you want to reach out, please do, because we can do this together. It is, of course, my experience that at the beginning of the year in January, working in health and fitness clubs for decades, and I have my own studio as well since 2005, that the beginning of January is fairly busy. And then towards the end of January, it kind of like slows down when it comes to attendance. And that is because we are not really setting a plan that is very measurable, that is very specific and very attainable for ourselves. And we don't write it down. And we don't do it in a sense that we have maybe the need of an accountability buddy, right? Somebody that goes with us or somebody that keeps us company, or we don't do it time, life, work balance wise very well, so that we fall off the wagon because we say, well, we actually don't have time. This is one of the fun things that I want to start with. Today, I want to give you 5 areas to think about. It is not all that, it is not all there is, but some things that I have been talking about, and for a long time I talked about it, that of course, we want to first go and look at the things that we want to set as a goal for ourselves. It's very well known that actually a lot of people don't plan their future. More than 80% of the population in the United States, according to the latest research, is not planning their future. And that means that we think that either it is not worthy our time to think about it now, or it just costs a lot of energy to start doing it. And we just kind of like go with the flow and see where it gets us. And when we hit that bridge or we come to that bridge, we're going to take it then, right? We're going to think about it then. It's causing, in my eyes and in the way I work with my clients, and I always say this, it's causing a lot of anxiety if you don't have things planned. If you are planning things, you are more likely to have a good measure of success with the things that you are planning. You're holding yourself accountable. There's a lot more self you're depending on it, right? There's a lot more due dates there, but you're doing it because it gives you this wonderful outcome, and you can see it. So you can see the success and you can celebrate that. And when we are successful in something over a short or longer amount of time, and we can celebrate that, we feel really good. That is a great boost for our confidence and self-esteem. Of course, let's say that we're going to just think about 5 tips today that I want you to put on paper. Let's do that together. And I would invite you today to think about the things that I kind of talked about in a short amount of time instead of a long amount of time. But come back with me, like I said, if you have questions, and think about the 5 following tips that you might consider to write down and make a little plan for yourself on how you're going to handle that and what you're going to do with it and how you're going to go about it. And is it attainable? Is it doable? Can you put it in the time that you have? Those kind of things are coming up. So let's think about this dream that you have for the first 3 months of the new year. You want to do something for yourself. If it gets, of course, if it is about your health and well-being, that's what we're talking about, of course. I'm talking about feeling healthy, feeling good in your skin, maybe losing weight, or maybe you have to gain weight. Maybe you have to get stronger. Maybe you have some fitness goals or exercise goals, or just easier going stability and mobility goals there that will get you to the next step and through the first part of the year. So let's think about a few of these things. We're going to just write them down in smaller goals, and then you can take action to what you need to do per day or per week. It is always a good thing to plan it. It takes away a lot of the anxiety of the what if it comes down to options and opportunities you have. So let's start with the first thing, of course, that is physical well-being. That is exercise for me, right? We're always talking as exercise in my work as something that is preventative. Very important to do. You want to be preventative and you want to think about preventative healthcare. So what are you going to do to prevent that you don't have to see the doctor, that you are, I'm not talking about a broken leg or an accident, of course, that might be unfortunate, but that might happen. But what if you want to stay out of the doctor's office and just really work on that health yourself, that physical well-being, that mental well-being? It has a lot to do with exercise in the first place. So I invite you to write down just some things that you can do for yourself or that you think that would be a good exercise routine. Is it 3 times a week? Is it 5 days a week? Or, as I advise many of my clients when it comes to work-life balance, maybe it is 3 days per week in the gym, maybe it's 2 days of walking, and maybe you can take 1 day off and 1 day do something different in the form of a yoga routine, a stretch routine, or in the form of some outdoor activity, right? Something that you really enjoy to do. And so write down for you, what is the easiest way for you to hold yourself to a plan that is still new and fresh and inviting and exhilarating. So if you're writing this down, that you're going in January, February, and March, 3 times a week to the gym to take a class or to work out on the gym in a facility on the machines, then write that down and write down the time. How many minutes? And it doesn't mean that you have to go an hour. Sometimes a half an hour works. Sometimes 45 minutes works for you. Sometimes even 20 minutes works. But write down how many days a week you can do this, what is doable, right? What is really realistic for you when it comes to your family time, your work-life balance, other things that have priority. So think about what you can do and what time you will do it. Are you going to do it in the morning or in the afternoon, right after work, maybe at night? Maybe you have a good group that you can grab and say, we're going to do this together. So try to write it down, what your goals are there and how you can take action. for the new year when it comes to an exercise routine. In any form, right? It might be just something that you want to work on when it comes to strength or cardio, flexibility, mobility. I teach a lot of active aging classes, right? Where we do yoga in a chair. We also do a lot of balance and we do a lot of flexibility. So we work on upper body strength, on leg strength. Again, a lot of things that are working towards being and feeling fall proof, right? Those things are very important. But we definitely see that functional fitness coming up, and we definitely see that it's important in the fitness industry and in the health industry. It's it's important that you pick something that really works for you. Excuse me. You really have to enjoy it. If I don't enjoy it, then I'm not going to hold myself to it. I'm not going to finish that journey. So it has to be definitely something that you enjoy doing with a group, in group setting, maybe by yourself or maybe with a buddy. It's always great to have somebody that knocks on your door in the morning and says, come, let's do this together. So I call it a buddy system. For everything, a buddy system works great because you're more likely to do it. So write down for yourself what you want to do for that, in that health picture, for that fitness, exercise, well-being, physical well-being for yourself, right? The power of exercise. It also gives you a great mental and a great emotional boost. That is the power of exercise right there, right? It has healing powers, as I always say. It will release some of these happy hormones that we are not going too deep in right now. But you will feel, if you exercise, you will feel emotionally and mentally a lot better. And of course, nothing is more fun than just see some things lifted, right, physically, and looking in the mirror and go to yourself like, yes, I did it. So it's a great lift. It's a great boost emotionally and mentally as well. So start with writing down where you want to be in a couple of months, writing down in 3 or in 6 months increments, or maybe for the year, and write down that big vision that you have for those 3 months or for those 6 months or for that year when it comes to your physical well-being. And then break it down into shorter, smaller goals. So let's say in 3 months, you have let's say you write a 3-month plan, and then after the first month, you have added some weights to the weight machines. You've added a longer time in the gym, or you have been able during the second month to increase to an hour of fitness, or to increase the strength level, or to increase and step up into a more into a higher level class, right? Maybe a different routine that takes more out of you. So step it up there and write down how that is going to look for yourself. And the second thing that I really want to discuss with you is, of course, making steps towards mental health and well-being. In the first place, it is so important that you are going to recognize some signs of your mental health. So what is going on with you? Do you suffer a lot from negative thinking? Do you feel that you're not in the right time, right place? Have you gone through a lot? I talk about that in some of my webinars a lot. You have to kind of accept the situation as is and recognize it. And then from there on, move forward, right? We have to move into an action plan. Otherwise, you will be, by the end of next year, you will probably be in the same mindset situation as you are right now. If that is not a good one, you really want to step it up and say, I'm going to just change that thinking. I'm going to just do some exercises, do some work, and you can actually really exercise and train your brain, as I always say. Do some work to think different. So if you're always thinking, sometimes in the group that I'm working with right now, in the transformation group that I'm working with right now, and myself, I work with a coach as well. So in this group, we're working on your state of being. What is your state of thinking? Is it always a negative waking up? Is it thinking of, I can't do this. I have never had a good relationship with them. I can never find the right job or the right work for me. I will never be able to mend this marriage that I'm in right now. I will never, I can never see myself having a good job. Right? If you're in that work and in that line of thinking, then you need to do some work to get yourself out of that mindset. It has a lot to do with preparation and thinking different. And you can do that through a lot of exercise. You can do that through affirmations. You can do that coming to places where you know that you're going to think a little different and you're going to have more perseverance, more, right? You prepare for things different. The outcome is different. Your performance is different. And you are persevering more. There's just a lot more action. There's a lot more things that are working in your, in that are going your way, that are giving you fortune. So you can improve that mindset by being intentional about what you want and knowing that narrative. You need to be intentional about what you want, right? You need to come into that state of being, of knowing that, yes, I can. Yes, I can do it. And that is very important. And then from there on, you're going to perform and be intentional about that self-talk. You're going to be intentional about, yes, I can do it. Yes, I am very good at it. Yes, I can heal that relationship. Yes, I can learn to communicate better. Yes, I can do that with somebody that is holding me accountable. Yes, I will do that together, right? So in a lot more things, you can improve your thinking, and then you can see some of that feedback that you get from others as well as a gift. Sometimes it's very difficult to hear, but you might have to think a little bit different, think a little bit more optimistic or positive, all about that positive thinking that we're coming to, right? Because then you can manifest a lot more things for yourself. And it is really true. And I can talk hours and hours about how that worked for me. And I will tell you that story some other day. But it's definitely a difference between the thinking of I can not, and I will not, and I have not, and going to that positive mindset of, yeah, you know, sometimes failure is a feedback too, and you just have to learn from it, move on, step over, move with it, step through it, move through it, I say, and move with it, and then move forward. It's very important to do that, because that way you can come out of your comfort zone. And it is really something that we want to do with this being intentional, with this being better, with this being positive, with this being good to yourself, right? So that is all that mindset stuff. You have to have a state of being, be able to communicate that with yourself and then with others. So self-assessments and mindset strategies and tests are wonderful support systems. I can get them to you if you reach out, if you're questioning why or what you need to do to help you there, to come out of that comfort zone, to go into somewhat of a fear zone, usually in the beginning, right? It's kind of new territory. What are we doing here? I'm not really sure. I have a little lack of confidence, not really sure if I can do it. So that's why it's so good to work with a coach or with somebody that gives you that support to come to that learning zone, to where you really know how to deal with more obstacles in your life, how to deal with more things that are more structural, right? That are having a better outcome that you can see for yourself. So if you really work towards that, then you ultimately come into that what we call the growth zone. And the growth zone is really important to be able to constantly activate your skills, right? Your coping skills when something happens, and being better prepared for the outcome. So it's very important, again, to be able to just prepare for things to come and perform into the outcome that you want to see, and then persevere, right? Do that. Even despite difficult circumstances, keep doing it. So come there to a different place in that mindset. Then, and the third thing that I'm going to talk to you about today is anxiety and stress. Again, if you want to overcome anxiety and stress, write it down and write down some coping skills. What are you going to do this year when it comes to anxiety and stress? I know it's part of this mindset, but I want to separate it because I work with a lot of people that do suffer from anxiety and that do allow themselves to go through a lot of toxic habits, right? They go through lack of self-control and being judgmental and sometimes just even being envious of others or playing the victim. Those things are toxic for ourselves. So we want to come to a more emotional balance, which is part of that mindset, but also part taking it away into what to do for anxiety and stress into coping skills. It involves many things that just have to do with the experience of a wide range of emotions that are overwhelming. Now, what are you going to do with that moment and what are your coping skills? And the first thing is always, I talk about exercise, and we talked about that, so that will help you a lot. But secondly, relaxation techniques. And relaxation techniques might be mindfulness exercises, mindfulness exercise can be walking outside and doing the 3-3-3, right? Mention 3 things that you see and describe them. Mention 3 things that you hear and describe them. And feel 3 things in your body and describe them. And so in that sense, that is a mindfulness exercise. You can do that anytime, and it will be really, really good for your anxiety, slowing down, for your stress. Another practice is gratitude practice, right? Writing, journaling, maybe in the morning, writing things down that you're grateful for. Writing things down is important because you have it black on white, and you can start that journaling journey. Meditation is a wonderful way to defeat in the moment that stress and anxiety as well. So coming out of that place of your thinking constantly, overthinking, ruminating thoughts, just come to that place of well-being, staying into a nice place of relaxation, staying in a nice place of well-being, just feeling good in the moment. And do that as many times as you need it. So those coping skills are just immediate intervention techniques, anxiety intervention techniques that you can use when you are really overwhelmed and you're feeling stressed out. And of course, we all do because there's so much going on. I talk about that all the time. And I did a couple of shows on anxiety intervention techniques that you can look up and watch the replays. They're all on my YouTube channel. So here is the last thing that I'm gonna, or the before last thing, right? Number 4 that I'm gonna discuss with you. Just go back and find the place of spirituality, faith, religion for yourself. And write that down in your plan and make that spiritual practice a conscious practice. I am always, and I do it myself as well, and I'm always I hear so many people around me that do believe in the power of prayer, do believe in the power of manifestation, do believe in the power of being together and helping, right? And being there for each other. But are we really taking the time every week to connect with our higher power? Do we really need to go back maybe to church? Or maybe we need to take an hour to sit and read? Or maybe we need to go back to a spiritual practice, whatever that is for you. Why don't you write it down in your plan, what that means to take time for your spirituality and connect with hope, connect with faith, and connect with others, right? For that matter, because it has a lot to do with being together and feeling together, feeling strong in this, right? Your faith-based system, your belief system is a guidance system for you. It supports trust. It provides trust and support. And write it down. See if you have an hour a week, or maybe 2 hours, or maybe 3 hours a week, again, for that time for self. And that is all big part of self-care and connection and collaboration. But it's really important to go into that place of self-care, to find out if you are in a better place mentally, emotionally, and spiritually next year. And of course, physically. We started with that. So that would be number 4. And the last one I want to give you today is something that I start with this year. And that is that has a little bit to do with all of it. My mindset, my well-being, my emotional state of mind, stress and anxiety. I want to stay away from judgment. I'm going to start the year with that. I wrote that down for myself in my plan. I want to stay away from judgment. I want to stop judging myself for the things that I think I did wrong, for the things that I think that I did not do well, for the things that I think I was not good enough at, for the things that I think that I didn't do to the perfection, for putting really high expectations on myself. And I should be the queen of no expectations. I don't want that, right? I want to let go of judgment towards myself and secondly, towards others. I want everybody just to be. As Mel Robbins says, it's so wonderful, let them. Let everybody be. Let everybody grow and be. Or maybe they just choose to not grow and not do anything for themselves, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. Maybe they don't do that. And we cannot change people if that is their choice. I know about trying to change people. Right? That didn't work. So if we come to the place of just trying to let go and let them and just focus on how we can be better, how we can be better in our being, how we can be more accepting in our being without judgment, then that would be a wonderful start of the year. I hope this helped you a little bit. Just write some things down for yourself. Whatever it is. It doesn't have to be all these 5 things. It can be 3 things that are really speaking to you. It might be 2 things that you really want to do for yourself in the first quarter of 2024. But let's start with an amazing mindset, loving ourselves without judgment and loving others without judgment. Just being into a wonderful, peaceful place. Take a deep breath. Find gratefulness. Find a moment for yourself in all the craziness of the end of the year. And I wish you wonderful, wonderful holidays. Lots of blessings. And then I'll see you next week. Bye. Thank you for watching. Find me, forgot to tell you that, find me alienhaan.com. Reach out.